doing, folks? How's everybody doing today? Ah, good to be here, good to be here. You know, I did a show like this for a booker recently. And when you do a show for a booker and you're done performing, they give you their criticism of how he thought you did. That's not uncomfortable at all. This guy said, "Kid, I like your material." He called me kid. I didn't like that. He said, "Kid, I like your material. The only problem is when you're on stage, you have an unlikable personality." Here I was worried you might say something to hurt my feelings. The only problem is who I am as a person. That shouldn't be hard to change at all. All right, thank you, sir. May I have another? Okay. I was hanging out with some friends the other day, and a woman in the group said she thinks it's really sexy when a man has had a vasectomy. I'll tell you what's not sexy. Trying to fit your vasectomy into casual conversation with the same person later that day. Tiffany, you're never gonna believe this. Yeah, I just got a cup of coffee and the lid, it's just too tight. Yeah, much like the clamps they placed around my vas deferens. Yep. Clamped it, clipped it, and cauterized. That's how they do it. Oh, was that you that thought that was sexy? Okay, I was just making small talk. I'm starting to see what he means now, though, by unlikable personality. That's my fault. I'm gonna get it together. I used to work in schools. Anybody else? Not allowed to anymore? Anybody? This guy? This guy? Turns out they don't have a good sense of humor down at the old schools. Turns out they don't love it when you stand on a cafeteria table and shout, "I should be allowed to have a gun at work." No, wasn't that unprofessional of me? What they really don't like is when you double down on explaining. No, you don't understand. It's not for protection. I just don't think the kids respect me. Come on, help a guy out. That's what I'm worried about. The sassy American child epidemic. Nobody wants to talk about that. You do your homework. You do your homework. Yeah, they don't have much of a sense of humor down there. A lot of my friends have kids now, and I'm not sure why they think this is like edgy material. They really love to tell me which of their kids were planned and which ones were surprises. I don't have the heart to tell them they're both mistakes from where I'm standing. I've met your kids. I can forgive a mistake, but you're telling me you had one of those shitheads on purpose? You should be ashamed of yourself. They always use the same phrase, too. They always say, "Jake, don't you want a little version of yourself? Huh? Wouldn't that be cute? A little something that looks like you running around, a little scamp. Don't you want a little version of yourself?" I'm 5'7". I'm already a little version of myself. I'm a little version of most people. What are you suggesting? Some kind of micro-human running around here? That's crazy. Be serious. No, I don't want kids, though. It's not a good time for kids. Too many diagnoses going around nowadays. Yep, everybody thinks they got something. I had a friend call me up the other day because he thought he had depression. And I said, "Why do you think you have depression?" This lady's laughing already. That's how she feels about mental illness. I said, "Why do you think you have depression?" He started telling me all the things that happened over the last year. His wife left him. That was sad. What I didn't know was that after that, his dog ran away. He started drinking a little more. Who wouldn't? He lost his job because they smelled alcohol on his breath. He told me he'd been miserably sad for months at a time. He said, "I think I have depression." I said, "Look, man, I don't know how to tell you this. I'm not a doctor, but I think you might just be a loser, man. That's a different thing. Totally different thing. I mean, that is some textbook loser shit, my man. Jesus Christ, your wife, your job, even your dog left you. Goddamn. That's some shit to be sad about. I'd be sad too." It's a perfectly acceptable response. Well, that's not what depression is. Everybody thinks they have depression nowadays. When's the last time you heard somebody in America just say they were sad? Never. Sad's out. Sad's low shelf. Depression is supposed to mean you have a chemical imbalance, right? Your noggin's missing all the happy juices, and even when your life's going well, you just struggle to hold on to the joys in life, right? That's what depression is. If you're sad and your life sucks, that just kind of means you get it. That's a good... I'm glad your life depresses you. It depresses the rest of us. Quit calling. All right, folks, what I'm really here to talk to you all about today is cultural appropriation and why I think it's kind of funny. I know there's a lot of white folks in the audience. This is how it gets real uncomfortable real fast, I know. Here's something I think is funny. When we talk about cultural appropriation and we say you should never steal from a culture you're not a part of. I think it's funny that nobody ever says this part, but we all just instinctively know that white people culture doesn't count. Doesn't count. You can take whatever you want from white people. It's not a real culture. Theirs is a culture of stealing from other cultures. I was hanging out with some friends last night, and a Korean gentleman used the phrase "gee willikers." Guess what I had to do? Just let it go. Hey man, talking like a dork, that's sort of our thing. Sure you should be throwing words around like that? Anybody else got a problem with this? No? Just me? Okay. All right. Sometimes cultural appropriation can be a good thing. Here's my favorite. I find it hilarious that here in America, progressive people use the phrase folks and y'all to be more inclusive to the non-binary community. I think that's great because folks and y'all, that shit comes from the South. That comes from a place not known for non-binary inclusivity. You know how funny that is? The liberals across America just appropriated a couple of redneck terms and made it the LGBTQ greeting from now on, out of spite, as far as I can tell. I say, why stop there? I think we should call all gay men patriots. That's right. What's more patriotic than two dudes blowing each other in a Christian nation, huh? That's not an expression of your freedom. I don't know what is. All right, that's it for me, folks. Give it up for freedom.
Keep it going for Jake one more time.